Welcome back to News Tonight. Again, there couldn't be a better time to wear your pink ribbon than now in October, which is the month of breast cancer awareness. Spreading awareness is the key to bringing down the occurrence of this disease that is haunting women all over the world. Our reporter Zoya Thomas brings us the rising number of cases, existing myths and attached fears.
Breast cancer will soon overtake cervical cancer as the most reported type of cancer among women in India. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, the estimated breast cancer cases in India in 2010 is over 90,000, and this is all set to rise. Survivors of breast cancer, including celebrities like Kylie Minogue and Lisa Ray, have come forward to do their bit in helping patients deal with the trauma. But despite increased efforts to spread awareness, doctors say treatment fears still bog down many of those affected.
Well, this fear is a myth created by lack of awareness. Because once a diagnosis of cancer, people believe nothing can be done. They believe cancer is incurable. So this myth of incurability of cancer has to be dispelled. And the best way will be to have more and more people cured of the disease.
Apart from awareness, the challenge to shatter myths that surround breast cancer is a huge problem. So much so that many women from both urban and rural areas refuse treatment because of these.
I grew up on movies like Safar and Anand, and they always show the person who's suffering with cancer saying, so long, farewell, go, went, gone.
Many diagnosed say that it not only affects the health, but also their relationships with others. But the disease is curable, provided it is detected early. In Chennai, Zoya Thomas for Ndtv-Hindu.
Now, we were joined in the studios by Dr. Ratna Devi, an oncologist, and Mrs. Neerja Malik, a cancer survivor who braved the illness twice. They told us about lifestyle, about myths, about need for awareness, and perhaps most importantly, about the need for a positive attitude. How critical do you think it is now in association with in the context of the lifestyle changes that we do see? How much of that really impacts something like breast cancer?
Lifestyle, yes, it has changed a lot now. And if you see 2 decades ago, that is our grandmother and mother period, the age at menarche is about 14 years. Now you see the girls attain their menarche at 9 or 10 years, and menopause has become late, like about 50, 55. So the number of cycles is more. Right. And the lifestyle, the metro people, especially late marriage, late childbirth, unable to breastfeed because of the occupation. So these are also changes in the lifestyle which has increased the incidence of this cancer.
So essentially, net, if I can read into what you're saying, is that women and women living in metros are a lot more vulnerable to this disease than perhaps their counterparts in rural areas.
Yes, according to the Madras Metro's survey, 1 in 28 is at risk. 1 in 28 women is at risk.
To talk about this disease, and you have faced it twice, you've braved it twice, and to talk about this disease in the context of how do you take it forward? You recognize the fact that I am suffering from an illness. How do you take it forward from there? What would your advice be? Counseling advice in terms of going to oncologists, advice in terms of actually braving up psychologically for this one illness?
I think a lot depends on your attitude. And here I'd like to say that the minute I talk to a patient, they may come into my room feeling very depressed, traumatized, angry, upset, frustrated. But the minute I say, hey, I've done that, been there, I have worn these moccasins, there is an immediate shift in perception. And the person shifts from being upset to, all right, let me hear more. Okay. Did your hair fall? Did your nails turn black? Did you feel nauseous?
A feeling of correlation where you're able to identify.
Complete identification, and then there is no, what's your background, what's my background. Okay. Within 2 seconds flat, there is an instant rapport, and then the patient is all mine.
Well, if you thought the youth of today are not concerned about the various issues that confront the country, well, think again. For the BATE, the inter-college debating competition jointly conducted by the debating clubs of Lady Andal and Bhavan's Rajaji Vidyashram schools saw the school kids fiercely voicing their concern for topics as vast as legalizing prostitution to deciding whether Indian democracy is a neo-political system or an anarchy. And to do justice to the competition were the eminent judges who articulately critiqued and appreciated the participants. The team from Shriram Law Academy, T Nagar, were crowned the winners.
the Indian democracy has undergone so many changes, which is why it's called a new political system. It has undergone so many changes that some people might not even recognize it anymore. But that does not mean that it is not a democracy. It is a new form of democracy, constantly striving to become the ideal democracy which none of us might ever achieve. Democracy is ideally meant to empower you and me, but unfortunately, that is not so. Anarchy basically is people ruling themselves. Then India is an anarchy, minus the chaos, confusion and absolute lawlessness.
Many of the ministers actually told the speaker to speak in Marathi, and they actually snatched off the mic from him when he actually didn't do so. So doesn't this kind of prove that democracy is actually shattered in India?
Is there a prize for the best audience question also?
Yes, yes, there is. Rights. They are trying to voice their opinion and trying to say that in Maharashtra we should speak in Marathi does not mean that democracy has been
divide the
shattered.
country into states. We are a single country. We are not each
A
and every
single
individual
government
state.
that is known for its unity in its diversity.
Are freebies in the present context a sign of corruption or populism or the work of a welfare state?
If they're in form of a subsidy benefiting the actual people who require it.
No, I'm not talking about subsidies, I'm talking about freebies.
Yeah, if they are in the form of subsidies, if they're actually given to people who require them, then yes, it is required. But if it's frivolous and it's a drain on the government's exchequer, then that is when you draw your line. That is when you say, no, we do not want this.
Right, some smart and young minds at work there, but nevertheless, coming up, Mark Webber makes his speedy plans with a 14-point lead, even as the Korean tracks aren't too rubber friendly. We'll bring you more on that on the other side.